I'm a 28-year-old graphic designer who's been accused of being selfish and lazy, and honestly, I'm starting to wonder if they're right. AITA for refusing to help my friends clean up a park because I don't think it's my mess to deal with? It all went down last weekend, and now my group chat's blowing up with passive-aggressive memes like, okay, I get it, you're mad, but hear me out. I've got this tight crew I've known since college, 5 of us who used to pull all-nighters in the dorms, fueled by energy drinks and spite for our professors. There's Tara, the unofficial mom of the group who always has wet wipes and a lecture ready, Jake, a lanky dude who's obsessed with his vintage Polaroid camera and says vibes, unironically, Priya, who's tiny but terrifying when she's pissed. Like a feral chipmunk, and Sam, who's chill until he's not, then he's quoting Nietzsche like it's a TED Talk. We don't see each other as much now that we're all adulting, but we still hang out when we can, usually at someone's apartment or a dive bar with sticky floors. This time, though, Tara got it in her head that we should give back to the community by cleaning up this random park nobody's ever heard of. The park's not even near where any of us live. It's this weird, overgrown spot about 40 minutes out of town called Heron's Hollow, think less, cute picnic vibes and more, where old shopping carts go to die. It's got this creepy wooden gazebo that looks like it's one storm away from collapsing, a dried-up fountain with a headless cherub statue and a single rusty slide that screeches when you use it. Apparently, Tara found it on some eco-warrior Facebook group where people were whining about litter. She texted us all, meet me at Heron's Hollow Saturday at 9 a.m. Bring gloves and good energy. I replied with a sleepy cat gif because, real talk, I'm not a morning person and I figured she'd get the hint. She didn't. Saturday rolls around and I'm still in bed, scrolling X and sipping coffee from my chipped World's Okayest Designer mug when my phone starts pinging like crazy. Tara's posting pics of her and the gang at the park posing with trash bags like they're influencers at a charity gala. Jake's got his Polaroid out snapping artsy shots of a crushed beer can. Priya's glaring at a plastic bag stuck in a bush like it personally offended her. Sam's just there holding a rake and looking vaguely philosophical. Then Tara texts me directly, where are you? We're all here busting our asses. I groan, type back, overslept, my bad, and go back to doomscrolling. That's when the guilt trip starts. Tara calls me on speaker no less, so I hear everyone in the background. Dude, she says, this isn't just about us, it's about the planet. You can't just sit this out. I mumble something about how I recycle and don't even own a car, so I'm basically Greta Thunberg already, right? Jake chimes in with, bro, it's not about carbon footprints, it's about community vibes. Priya yells, stop being a lazy ass, and Sam mutters something about the collective burden of existence. I'm like, guys, I didn't litter in that park. Why am I on trash duty? Tara snaps, because we're your friends and friends show up. I fire back, yeah, well, friends don't drag me to a sketchy park at dawn to pick up some randos Dorito bags. Then I hang up because I'm not awake enough for this. It gets worse from there. By noon, they're done, sweaty and triumphant, posting stories on Instagram with captions like, teamwork makes the dream work, and saving the world one park at a time. I'm conspicuously absent from the pics, and the group chat turns into a roast session. Jake sends a meme of SpongeBob sleeping while everyone else works. Priya texts, guess who's not invited to pizza night? Tara drops a long voice note about how disappointed she is, saying, I thought you cared about us, not just yourself. Even Sam, who usually stays out of drama, texts me privately, man, you kinda let us down. I'm sitting there, staring at my half-eaten toast, feeling like a jerk but also annoyed, like, why is this my responsibility? I didn't sign up for this. I wasn't even consulted. The fallout's been brutal. Pizza night happened without me, and Tara posted a pic of the crew clinking beers with the caption, real friends show up. Ouch. Priya's still liking my ex-posts but hasn't texted me directly, which is her way of saying I'm on thin ice. Jake keeps sending me Polaroids of the park cleanup in the mail, yes, physical mail, like some passive-aggressive art project. Sam's gone radio silent, probably meditating on my moral failures. I tried explaining myself in the group chat, saying, look, I'm not lazy, I just don't see why I'm obligated to fix a mess I didn't make, but Tara replied, it's not about obligation, it's about caring. Now I'm second-guessing myself. I love these idiots, but I also feel like they're guilting me into something I didn't agree to. I could have gone, sure, but I didn't want to, and now I'm the villain. So Reddit, I'm tossing this out there because I'm losing sleep over it. AITA for refusing to help clean up the park with my friends? They're acting like I betrayed them, but I still don't think it was my job to play garbage collector. Am I a selfish ass, or are they overreacting? Hit me with your takes, I can handle it. Okay, So I'm a 32-year-old barista who's been dubbed the water police by my neighbor. And now I'm wondering if I stuck my nose where it didn't belong. AITA for telling my neighbor his lawn watering was wasting too much water. Even though he's now calling me a meddling busybody? This all kicked off a couple weeks ago, and it's turned my quiet little cul-de-sac into a suburban soap opera. I live in this sleepy desert town called Dusty Palms. Think cacti, cracked sidewalks, and houses with peeling stucco. It's the kind of place where the sun feels like it's personally mad at you, and the only green comes from people who've got the cash or stubbornness to keep a lawn alive. I rent a tiny bungalow with a gravel yard I've jazzed up with succulents and a couple of thrifted patio chairs. My neighbor, Greg, is this 50-something guy who's basically the king of lawn talk around here. His grass is so lush it looks like it belongs in a golf course ad. And he's out there every morning with his sprinkler system, sipping coffee from a best dad ever mug while his rescue mutt, Pickles, chases the water jets. Greg's the type who waves at everyone, always in cargo shorts and a faded Metallica tee, and he's got this loud laugh that echoes down the street. We've been friendly enough. Small talk about the weather, me tossing Pickles a treat over the fence now and then. But that's about it. I'm no eco-warrior, but I've been trying to cut back on waste since I started listening to this podcast, Planet or Bust. That's got me paranoid about climate stuff. I switched to reusable coffee filters, started composting my grounds, and even got one of those low-flow shower heads that makes me feel like I'm bathing in a sad drizzle. So when I notice Greg's sprinklers running for like 45 minutes every morning, water pooling in the gutter, trickling down to the storm drain, I started doing the math. We're in a drought, right? Dusty Palms gets maybe 10 inches of rain a year if we're lucky. And here's Greg turning his yard into the freaking Everglades. I didn't say anything at first, just side-eyed it while walking to my shift at Brew Haven. But after a week of watching it, I couldn't keep quiet. It went down on a Tuesday. I'd just gotten off a brutal double shift. My apron still smelled like burnt espresso, and I saw Greg out there, fiddling with his sprinkler timer. Pickles was yapping at a lizard, and the water was spraying so hard it was hitting my side of the fence. I leaned over and said, "Hey, Greg, you ever think about cutting back on the watering? Seems like a lot's just running off." He looked up, squinting like I'd asked him to solve quantum physics, and went, "What's that now?" I tried to keep it chill, like, just saying, "It's a drought, and all that water's kinda wasteful, you know?" He laughed, loud, like a sitcom dad, and said, "Kid, this lawn's my pride and joy. Gotta keep it green." I pressed a little, "Yeah, but it's pooling in the street. Maybe shorter bursts or something." That's when his face changed. He straightened up, crossed his arms, and said, "You telling me how to run my yard? Mind your own damn business." I blinked, caught off guard. "I'm not trying to boss you around, man. It's just water's tight around here." He snorted, "Tight for you, maybe. I pay my bills. You want to save the planet? Start with that gas guzzler you drive." Okay. Fair. My '98 Honda Civic's a clunker, but I barely use it. I shot back, "This isn't about me. It's about not drowning the neighborhood." He waved me off, muttering, "Meddling hipster," and stomped inside with Pickles trotting behind. I stood there, damp from the spray, feeling like I just kicked a hornet's nest. Now it's a full-on Cold War. Greg's doubled down, sprinklers on longer, sometimes twice a day, like he's daring me to say something. He started blasting 80s metal from a Bluetooth speaker while he waters, glaring over the fence if I'm outside. The other neighbors are picking sides. Mrs. Lopez, who's 80 and knits on her porch, told me, "He's a good man, leave him be." But Jaden, the skateboard kid across the street, high-fived me and said, "Dude's flexing too hard with that grass." I posted a vague rant on X. When your neighbor treats H2O like it's infinite, and got a mix of NTA, call him out, and YTA, it's his property. Greg must have seen it, because he left a passive-aggressive note in my mailbox. "Focus on your weeds, water cop. My succulents aren't weeds, jerk." I'm rattled, honestly. I didn't mean to start a feud. I just wanted him to ease up on the sprinkler trigger. But now I'm the neighborhood snitch and I'm questioning if I overstepped. I could have just let it slide, but that runoff bugs me every time I see it. Greg's acting like I attacked his whole identity, and maybe to him I did. I'm not apologizing though, not yet. I still think he's wasting water, but I'm wondering if I picked the wrong hill to die on. So Reddit, AITA for calling out my neighbor's lawn watering? I didn't think it'd blow up like this, but now I'm the bad guy in Dusty Palms and I'm not sure if I'm in the wrong or just surrounded by lawn fanatics. What do you think? So, I'm a 25-year-old grad student who's been labeled a planet killer by my best friend, and I'm still kinda salty about it. AITA for tossing a plastic bottle in the regular trash because there wasn't a recycling bin around, even though my friend chewed me out like I just torched the Amazon? This happened yesterday and it's been gnawing at me ever since. I'm in my second year of a bioengineering program, living in this chaotic co-op house near campus with 6 other nerds. It's a converted Victorian with creaky floors, mismatched furniture, and a kitchen that smells like burnt ramen half the time. My best friend, Ellie, doesn't live here. She's got her own place downtown, but she's over all the time because she says our vibe is unhinged in a good way. Ellie's 26, a freelance illustrator with a septum piercing and a wardrobe full of thrifted overalls. She's got this infectious giggle and a habit of doodling on napkins when she's bored, but she's also the kind of person who'll lecture you about composting while eating your fries. We met in undergrad during a protest against single-use plastics, so yeah, she's that friend. The co-op's in this artsy neighborhood called Brick Row where the streets are narrow, the coffee shops have names like Bean Dream, and every other building's got a mural of a cat or something. Yesterday we were out hunting for props for this weird short film project Ellie's working on. She's directing it, some avant-garde thing about sentient trash, and I got roped in as her logistics guy because I'm good at carrying stuff. We hit up this abandoned lot behind Brick Row's old textile mill, a spooky spot with crumbling brick walls, overgrown weeds, and a rusted chain-link fence. It's the kind of place you'd expect to find a haunted shopping cart, and honestly, it's perfect for her aesthetic. I grabbed a Dr. Pepper from the vending machine at school earlier, and by the time we got to the lot, it was empty. I was juggling a busted lampshade Ellie found in a dumpster and my backpack, so I just chucked the bottle into a beat-up trash can nearby, one of those dented metal ones with no lid, overflowing with fast food wrappers and a soggy pizza box. Ellie froze mid-step, her eyes narrowing like I'd just committed a war crime. "Did you just throw that in the trash?" she asked, voice low and sharp. I shrugged. "Yeah, there's no recycling here. What am I supposed to do, carry it home?" She dropped the cracked mannequin arm she was holding and marched over, fishing the bottle out of the can with 2 fingers like it was radioactive. "Dude," she said, "this is why we're all doomed. You can't just not recycle because it's inconvenient." I laughed, big mistake, because I thought she was half joking, but her face went full on disappointed mom mode. "It's not funny, Max. You're better than this." I tried to defend myself. "Ellie, look around, there's no blue bin for miles. I'm not hiking back to campus with a sticky bottle just to prove a point." She held it up, label peeling, and said, "Then stick it in your bag. It's 1 bottle. You're not gonna die." I groaned, "My laptop's in there. I'm not smearing Dr. Pepper all over my notes." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck, then launched into this rant about microplastics and landfills while waving the bottle like a prop in her TED Talk. "You're a bioengineer," she finished. "You know this stuff matters." I snapped, "Yeah, and I also know the world's not ending over 1 bottle. Chill." She shoved it into my chest and said, "Fine, be a hypocrite," then stormed off to poke at a pile of tires. The rest of the prop hunt was awkward as hell. Ellie barely talked to me, just muttered stuff like, "Found a chair," while scribbling in her sketchbook. I kept the bottle in my hand the whole time, feeling like an idiot, until we got back to Brick Row and I finally found a recycling bin outside Bean Dream. I tossed it in with this exaggerated flourish, like, "Happy now?" She just smirked and said, "Bare minimum doesn't get you a medal." We grabbed coffee after, but it was tense. She kept side-eyeing me while doodling a cartoon of a landfill on her cup. Later, she posted a cryptic Instagram story, a pic of the lot with the caption, "Some people care, some don't." Subtle. Now I'm overanalyzing everything. My co-op housemates think it's hilarious. My roommate Kai keeps calling me trash lord and left a fake Oscar on my desk labeled Best Environmental Villain. Ellie's still texting me, but it's short, like she's waiting for an apology I'm not sure I owe. I get where she's coming from. Recycling's her hill to die on, and I've seen her fish cans out of gutters before, but I also feel like she overreacted. It was 1 bottle, not a truckload. I could have stuffed it in my bag, sure, but I was tired, my hands were full, and the trash was right there. I'm not some anti-planet monster, I just didn't think it was that deep. So Reddit, AITA for throwing the bottle in the trash instead of turning it into a whole mission? Ellie's acting like I betrayed our friendship's core values, but I think she's blowing it out of proportion. I'm stuck wondering if I'm a lazy jerk or if she needs to ease up. What's the verdict? I'm a 34-year-old accountant who's been called heartless by my own family, and I'm still trying to figure out if I screwed up. AITA for refusing to save a bird that got stuck in my yard because I was scared of hurting it, even though my wife and kids think I'm some cold-blooded jerk now? This all went down last Sunday, and it's turned my backyard into a morality battlefield. I live in this quirky little suburb called Maple Crest, where every house has a wraparound porch and the HOA sends passive-aggressive emails about leaf blowers. My place is a 2-story fixer-upper with a wild backyard. Think overgrown rose bushes, a sagging pergola, and this ancient oak tree that drops acorns like it's auditioning for a squirrel buffet. I'm not outdoorsy. I'm the guy who burns toast and forgets to water the houseplants. My wife, Lena, is the opposite. She's 36, a yoga instructor with a green thumb and a laugh that sounds like wind chimes. Our twins, Milo and Sadie, are 9, full of energy and obsessed with this app called BirdSpot where they log every feather they see. They've got binoculars dangling around their necks half the time, narrating bird drama like it's a nature doc. Last Sunday, I was chilling on the porch with my coffee and a Sudoku puzzle, my weekend ritual, when Milo comes barreling out, yelling, "Dad, there's a bird stuck in the tree." Sadie's right behind him, clutching her tablet, going, "It's a house finch." I looked it up. I shuffle over in my slippers, and sure enough, there's this tiny brown bird tangled in some old kite string from God knows when, flapping weakly about 10 feet up in the oak. Its little legs caught, and it's chirping like it's begging for help. Lena jogs out in her yoga leggings, all calm and "we've got this," while I'm just standing there, already sweating. Here's the thing. I'm not good with fragile stuff. I've got these big, clumsy hands. My coworkers call me Sasquatch because I've knocked over 3 office mugs this year alone. I once tried to fix a coworker's glasses and bent the frame worse than before. So when Lena says, "Babe, grab the ladder, we'll get it down," I freeze. Oh, what if I make it worse? Like, snap its wing or something? She gives me that look like I just said yoga's a cult and goes, "It's dying up there. We can't leave it." The twins are nodding, Milo tugging my sleeve, saying, "Dad, you're tall, you can reach it." I mumble, "I don't want to hurt it, guys. Maybe we call someone." Lena scoffs, "Who, bird 911? It'll be dead by then." I dig my heels in. Look, I'm not climbing up there to fumble it and turn this into a horror show. I'd feel awful if I crushed it. Sadie's eyes get huge and she whispers, "You'd rather let it suffer?" Milo chimes in, "That's so mean, Dad." Lena grabs the stepladder from the garage herself, muttering, "Fine, I'll do it," and I'm just standing there, useless, watching her wobble up the rungs. The bird's flapping harder now, and I'm imagining it snapping in half under my grip, feathers everywhere, kids screaming, total nightmare. Lena reaches out, gentle as hell, untangles the string, and cradles it down. It's panting in her hands, leg bent weird, but alive. The twins cheer like she's Wonder Woman, and I'm the guy who didn't even try. They took it inside, made a shoebox nest with cotton balls and a dish of water. Lena called a wildlife rehab place 20 minutes away, and they drove off to drop it off, leaving me with my cold coffee and a pit in my stomach. When they got back, the vibe was off. Sadie wouldn't look at me, just hugged her tablet and said it might live because Mom cared. Milo asked, "Why didn't you help, Dad? Were you scared?" I tried explaining, "Yeah, kinda, I didn't want to mess it up and hurt it more." Lena shook her head, "Sometimes doing nothing hurts more. It's not about you." Oof. They spent the night watching bird videos on YouTube, whispering about finch facts, while I scrolled X feeling like a loser. Now it's a thing. Lena keeps dropping lines like, "Good thing someone stepped up," when she's watering her herbs. The twins told their teacher about Mom saving the bird, leaving out my part or lack of it, and I overheard Milo on a Zoom call with his buddy saying, "Dad just watched." I tried talking to Lena last night, saying I wasn't being insensitive, I was freaked out I'd kill it, but she sighed, "Intentions don't fix inaction." I'm not a monster, I donate to WWF. I'd never hurt an animal on purpose, but I feel like they see me as this coward who let a bird suffer because I couldn't man up. So Reddit, AITA for not saving that bird because I was afraid of hurting it? My family's acting like I'm some callous jerk, but I genuinely thought stepping back was safer for it. Now I'm the bad guy in Maple Crest, and I'm wondering if I should have just risked it. Tell me straight, am I the asshole here? Alright, I'm a 29-year-old software developer who's been branded insensitive by my coworkers, and I'm still sneezing over it. AITA for refusing to plant trees with my team at a cleanup because my allergies would have turned me into a snotty mess even though they're now acting like I'm some eco-hating slacker? This went down last Friday and it's got my Slack channels buzzing with shade. I work at this mid-sized tech startup called CodeSprout, housed in a sleek open-plan office with beanbags, free kombucha, and a ping-pong table nobody's good at. My team's a mix of quirky coders. There's Ravi, 31, our lead dev who's always in neon sneakers and calls everything lit, Marisol, 27, a UI designer with a sleeve tattoo of pixelated flowers and a laugh like a foghorn, and Tim, 40. The quiet sysadmin who hoards vintage keyboards and mumbles dad jokes under his breath. We're tight, Friday happy hours at the dive bar next door, late-night bug-fixing sessions with pizza, but last week, they turned on me like I deleted the production database. CodeSprout's big on culture, so our HR rep, Jenna, organized this team-building thing. A day off to plant trees at a scrubby lot near the office, part of some city green initiative. The lot's this dusty patch off Highway 12, think gravel, tumbleweeds, and a sad chain-link fence with a future park sign that's been there since 2018. Jenna hyped it up in our all-hands Zoom, waving a tiny shovel and saying, "Let's grow roots together." I groaned internally because, here's the deal, I've got killer seasonal allergies. Pollen, dust, grass, name it, and my sinuses declare war. I pop Zyrtec like candy in spring, carry a travel pack of tissues, and once had to leave a picnic because a dandelion puff sent me into a sneezing fit that scared a dog. Friday hits, and I show up to the lot in my usual hoodie and Vans, figuring I'd at least cheer from the sidelines. Everyone's there in CodeSprout tees, digging holes and hauling saplings, little pines and oaks in burlap sacks. Ravi's blasting lo-fi beats from a portable speaker, Marisol's snapping pics for the company Insta, and Tim's muttering, "This tree's older than my Commodore 64. I'm hanging back by the water cooler, sipping a LaCroix when Jenna spots me. "Hey, grab a shovel," she chirps. I scratch my neck and go, I can't really, I've got bad allergies. Pollen's my kryptonite. She blinks, "Oh, come on, it's just a few trees." I point at the dust swirling around, "That's a few trees too many. I'd be a liability sneezing on everyone, zero help." That's when it escalates. Ravi jogs over, dirt on his neon Nikes, and says, "Dude, it's for the planet. You can't sit this out." I try joking I'm saving the planet by not contaminating it with my tissues, but he doesn't laugh. Marisol chimes in, loud enough for the whole lot to hear, "Wow, so you're just gonna watch us sweat? That's cold." Tim, shoveling quietly, mutters, "Some team spirit." I snap, "Guys, I'm not lazy, I'll choke out there. You want me wheezing through your lit playlist?" Ravi shrugs, "Pop an antihistamine, bro. We're all in this." I fire back, "I did, and it's not enough. I'm not risking an ER trip for a photo op." They roll their eyes and get back to it, leaving me by the cooler like I'm the office Grinch. By noon, they've planted 20 trees and I'm still on the sidelines, scrolling X and feeling like a dick. They finish, sweaty and triumphant, posing for a group pic minus me. Back at the office Monday, the vibe's off. Jenna posts the photo on Slack with "Teamwork makes the green work," and I'm conspicuously absent. Ravi drops a "wish everyone showed up" in the #general channel. Marisol texts me, "Allergies, huh? Convenient." Even Tim, who never starts shit, leaves a sticky note on my monitor, "Trees don't bite." I tried explaining in our stand-up, "Look, I'd have been useless out there, eyes streaming, nose like a faucet, but Ravi cuts me off," we managed. "Just thought you'd care." Ouch. Now it's a quiet siege. They're not outright mad, but the jabs keep coming. Marisol's calling me bubble boy in passing, and Ravi's accidentally leaving tree planting articles on my desk. I overheard Jenna telling HR I opted out like I'm some diva. I feel shitty, I love these weirdos, and I'm not anti-tree. I just didn't want to be a walking biohazard. I could have sucked it up, maybe, but I'd have been miserable and they'd have bitched about my whining anyway. I'm stuck wondering if I let them down or if they're guilting me over something I can't control. So Reddit, AITA for skipping the tree planting because of my allergies? They're acting like I'm insensitive to the cause, but I think they're ignoring how wrecked I'd have been. Now I'm the outcast at CodeSprout and I'm not sure if I'm the jerk or they're just tree-hugging bullies. What's your take?